What if I told you that one perfectly timed compliment could make her heart race and make you unforgettable? Yet most guys are still wasting their time with lines like, "You're hot," or "Nice dress." Hey everyone, welcome back. Most men don't understand the real power of words. They think attraction is about looks, money, or status, but the truth is, it's how you make her feel that determines whether she's drawn to you or forgets you the moment she walks away. Here's the secret weapon few guys ever use: a well-delivered compliment. One sentence, spoken the right way, can completely shift the way she experiences you. It can make her energy change, make her smile, make her start thinking about you in ways that last long after the conversation ends. Today, I'm revealing 8 powerful compliments that go beyond shallow flattery. These aren't weak lines that make you look desperate. These are carefully designed, psychologically driven compliments that make her feel seen, respected, and emotionally pulled toward you. Here's the harsh reality. If you're still throwing around generic compliments like "nice outfit" or "you look cute," you're just another forgettable guy in a sea of messages. But when you combine calm confidence, self-control, and the right words delivered with presence, you'll realize that attraction isn't in what you say. It's in how your words make her feel inside. So if you're ready to stand out, leave a lasting impression, and create real emotional impact, keep watching. And make sure you subscribe, because every video here will help you level up your mindset, your confidence, and your ability to connect with women on a deeper level. Compliment 1. That fragrance you're wearing is addictive. Compliments 1. The presence compliment. Admire the energy she brings, not her looks. There is a different kind of compliment that hits a woman in a place most men never reach. It's the compliment that doesn't touch her makeup, her outfit, or her physical beauty. It touches her presence. Because her presence is the one thing she cannot fake, cannot force, and cannot manufacture for the world. When you compliment her presence, you're acknowledging the energy she brings into a moment, the way she makes an environment feel, and the emotional imprint she leaves behind without even realizing it. Most men chase the easy compliments. "You're beautiful. You look good today. Nice outfit." They mean well, but those compliments are on the surface, and a woman knows they can be said to any woman walking by. But when you notice something deeper, how being around her feels, how she changes the room, how her energy shifts your internal state, you step into a different category of man. Women remember how someone makes them feel, and they fall for the man who can articulate that feeling with confidence and clarity. Complimenting her presence isn't about putting her on a pedestal or acting impressed. It's about acknowledging a truth that most men are too distracted, too nervous, or too superficial to see. When you tell a woman, "You bring a really calming energy," or "There's something about your presence that shifts the whole vibe," you aren't praising her looks, you're praising the invisible part of her that she didn't even know you could feel. That's why it hits so deeply. She starts seeing you as someone who is dialed in, someone who observes, someone who connects on a level beyond the surface. A presence compliment shows emotional intelligence without being emotional. It shows confidence without trying to prove anything. It shows interest without being needy. It opens a door in her mind where she starts wondering how you see the world, how you see her, and why you can read things about her that others overlook. She feels seen without feeling exposed, appreciated without feeling analyzed, and valued without feeling objectified. Her walls soften around a man who recognizes her presence because it means he's not chasing her body. He's connecting with her essence. And women trust the man who sees their essence more than the man who only notices their appearance. That trust becomes attraction, and that attraction becomes something she starts feeling even when you're not around. Compliments 2. The mind compliment. Appreciate the way she thinks. There is a moment in every woman's heart when attraction shifts from curiosity to connection, and it happens when a man acknowledges the one thing she rarely gets credit for: her mind. Most women go through life being noticed for their appearance, their smile, their style, or their body. Those compliments are familiar, predictable, and often forgettable. But when someone sees the way she thinks, the depth of her reasoning, the sharpness of her intuition, or the creativity in her ideas, It reaches a part of her identity that's far more meaningful than looks. The mind is where she stores her experiences, her dreams, her doubts, her wisdom, her resilience. When you compliment that, you're telling her you see something that isn't visible to everyone. This kind of compliment makes her feel recognized in a world where most of what she contributes mentally gets overlooked. It tells her you're paying attention, not just watching. It shows that you're not impressed by the obvious, but by the internal, subtle patterns of how she approaches life. When you say something like, "I really like the way you think about things," or "Your perspective is different and it makes conversations interesting," you aren't putting her above you. You're meeting her on a level where very few men ever reach. You're acknowledging her intelligence without trying to compete with it, admiring her mind without trying to use it to validate your own. This kind of compliment opens a doorway inside her. She begins to see you as someone who respects her inner world, someone who values her thoughts rather than just her appearance. Attraction grows stronger when a woman feels mentally understood, because the mind is the place where trust is born. And once trust forms on that level, emotional attraction follows naturally. A compliment on her mind invites her to express more of herself. She becomes more open, more relaxed, more willing to share her opinions, her stories, her beliefs. She starts associating you with mental stimulation, with curiosity, with a sense of being challenged in a healthy, masculine way. Women fall for the man who makes them feel intellectually alive, not just physically desired. When she sees that you're drawn to her thoughts, she begins to think more about you. When she realizes that you're paying attention to her reasoning, she starts paying more attention to you. The mind compliment turns ordinary conversations into memorable ones, and memorable conversations into emotional connection. And in that connection, attraction quietly deepens until she feels it without needing to be convinced. Compliments 3. The effort compliment. Notice the details nobody else sees. There is a certain kind of compliment that reaches a woman deeper than any line, any charm, or any smooth words. It's the compliment that acknowledges her effort. Not the final result, not the obvious beauty, not the surface-level appearance, but the work she puts into the things she cares about. Every woman carries silent efforts. The way she chooses her outfit with intention, the way she adjusts her tone to keep a conversation warm, the way she pays attention to small details, the way she tries to bring comfort, peace, or harmony into a space. Most people overlook these things. They take them for granted. They assume it's natural or automatic. But when someone notices her effort, she feels seen in a way that few people have ever made her feel. Women don't fall for the man who just praises what's visible. They fall for the man who recognizes what's invisible. When you say something like, "I can tell you put a lot of thought into that," or "You always notice details most people ignore," it hits differently because it validates the hidden part of her identity, the part that often feels unseen, unheard, or unappreciated. Complimenting her effort doesn't mean you're worshiping her or trying to impress her. It simply means you have the awareness to recognize the little things, the emotional intelligence to appreciate them, and the confidence to express it without hesitation. A woman's effort is personal. It comes from her heart, her upbringing, her personality, and her desire to make things better, cleaner, calmer, or more beautiful. When a man notices this, it signals something powerful, that he is attentive, present, observant, and grounded enough to pick up on details that others miss completely. This level of awareness creates an emotional shift inside her. She feels valued for who she truly is, not just for the final image she presents. She begins to relax around you because she senses that you understand the parts of her that usually stay hidden. Effort compliments build intimacy without even touching the subject of romance. They create a sense of safety because a woman realizes you see her not just when she tries to shine, but even when she's quietly contributing, quietly trying, quietly giving. And once she feels seen at that level, she becomes more expressive, more open, and more emotionally available. She starts associating your presence with validation, not cheap validation, but meaningful recognition. That recognition turns into trust, and that trust becomes attraction. Because a woman falls for the man who sees the details behind her actions, not just the actions themselves. Compliments 4. The character compliment. Praise her strength, values, and integrity. There is a different level of connection that opens when you compliment a woman not for how she looks, not for what she does, but for who she is at her core. Character is the part of her that has been shaped by experience, heartbreak, victories, failures, sacrifices, and growth. It's the part of her that isn't instantly visible, but becomes clear the more you truly pay attention. Most people only see the surface version of a woman, the smile she puts on, the charm she shows, the energy she gives. But her character is what she carries when no one is watching. It's the quiet strength, the loyalty she offers, the way she treats people, the principles she refuses to compromise. When you compliment that, you're not complimenting something temporary. You're acknowledging something she has built over years. Character compliments reach into a woman's emotional core because they remind her that someone finally sees her substance, not just her style. She is used to being noticed for her beauty, her attitude, or her vibe. But the moment someone says something like, "I respect the kind of person you are," or "You have a strong heart, I can tell," everything shifts. It tells her you are not just attracted to the outer shell. You value the foundation underneath. And that kind of recognition is rare, because most men never slow down enough to observe the traits that make her unique. Her discipline, her honesty, her emotional maturity, her kindness, her courage, her sense of responsibility. A character compliment isn't about flattery. It's about reading her essence. It requires awareness, calmness, and the ability to observe how she handles situations, how she interacts with others, how she reacts under pressure. It shows that you aren't distracted by superficial things. You notice how she navigates life. Women develop deep attraction toward the man who sees the strength behind their softness, the resilience behind their smile, the integrity behind their decisions. It makes them feel understood on a level they don't often get to experience. When someone acknowledges her character, she feels emotionally safe. She feels respected. She feels valued for who she truly is, not who she appears to be. And when a woman feels respected at her core, she becomes more open, more expressive, and more willing to show the vulnerable, real parts of herself. That trust forms a different kind of bond, one that isn't based on charm or compliments, but on genuine recognition. A man who compliments her character isn't trying to win her attention. He's simply speaking the truth he sees. And that truth becomes the foundation of attraction, because she realizes she's finally being seen for the woman she has fought to become. Compliments. 5. The calm compliment. Tell her she makes you feel grounded. There is a unique kind of compliment that doesn't elevate her beauty or her personality, but instead reveals something about the effect she has on your internal world. It's the calm compliment, the acknowledgement that her presence brings a sense of ease, steadiness, or emotional grounding. This kind of compliment is powerful because it speaks to something women rarely hear from anyone: the idea that their presence brings peace instead of pressure. Most of the time, women are told they are exciting, attractive, fun, charming, or beautiful, but almost no one tells them they carry a calming effect, a steadying influence that shifts the energy of the moment. When you tell a woman she brings calm, it hits a deeper layer of her feminine core, because calmness is something she usually tries to create for herself, not necessarily for someone else. What makes this compliment so attractive is that it doesn't come from a place of neediness. It doesn't say, "I need you to feel good." It says, "When you're here, the entire atmosphere feels different." There's no dependence in that statement, only awareness. It shows emotional maturity, the ability to recognize how another person influences your state without losing your balance. Women are not drawn to men who crumble in their presence. They're drawn to men who remain grounded but are honest enough to acknowledge when something or someone touches their inner world. When you say something like, "You have a calming vibe," it tells her that she influences you without overpowering you, that she matters without being placed above you. A calm compliment tells her she brings harmony instead of chaos, softness instead of tension, warmth instead of noise. It reflects that you pay attention to the subtler layers of presence, not just surface-level excitement. Women feel deeply appreciated when someone notices the energy they carry, especially when it's the kind that softens the room. Many women spend their days managing stress, dealing with pressure, or trying to maintain their own emotional balance. Being told they naturally create calm for someone else makes them feel seen in a way that goes far beyond physical attraction or playful charm. This kind of compliment also hints at your internal strength. Only a man who is already grounded can appreciate the grounding effect of another. Someone who is emotionally unstable cannot genuinely recognize calmness in another person. So when you acknowledge it, she subconsciously associates you with stability, awareness, and emotional presence. It creates a sense of quiet connection, an unspoken understanding that you notice energies, not just appearances. And when a woman feels that her presence brings peace rather than anxiety, tension, or expectation, she becomes more open, more trusting, and more drawn toward the man who can feel her essence without losing himself in it. Compliment 6. The rare compliment. Admire something she's never been complimented on. There is a certain kind of compliment that doesn't just catch her attention. It stays with her, echoing in her mind long after the moment passes. It's the rare compliment, the one that points out something so specific, so overlooked, and so unique that she immediately knows you're not like everyone else. Most women hear the same predictable praise for years. They're told they're pretty, attractive, cute, or stylish. Those compliments become background noise. They're appreciated, but they're forgettable because they aren't personal. They don't reflect anything about who she truly is. But when someone notices something rare about her, something no one else ever cared enough to observe, it hits her heart instead of her ego. Rare compliments require awareness. They demand presence. You have to actually pay attention to her, not just her physical appearance, but the subtleties in how she carries herself, how she speaks, how she reacts, how she moves through the world. It could be the way her eyes shift when she's thinking deeply, the way her voice softens when she talks about something meaningful, the way she chooses her words carefully, the way she expresses kindness without announcing it, or the quiet confidence she shows without trying to impress anyone. When you highlight something rare like that, it shows a level of perception that instantly separates you from men who only see the surface. This kind of compliment creates emotional resonance. A woman starts replaying your words because they weren't generic. They were crafted from genuine observation. She realizes you didn't just look at her, you noticed her. You didn't just listen, you understood. And that understanding makes her feel valued in a way that's both unexpected and unforgettable. The rare compliment hits deeper because it tells her you're seeing the parts of her that she didn't think anyone would ever notice. It's vulnerable for her, but comforting at the same time. When you give a rare compliment, you're not trying to impress her. You're reflecting something authentic. And authenticity is magnetic. It shows that you operate on a different wavelength, one where connection matters more than surface-level attraction. Women fall for the man who sees what others miss because it makes her feel chosen. Not for how she presents herself, but for who she naturally is when she isn't trying to be anything. Rare compliments create a private understanding between you and her, a moment where she feels like you see through the noise of the world and straight into the small details that reveal her true nature. That's the kind of moment that stays with her, the kind she thinks about later, long after the conversation ends, wondering how you could see something that no one else ever bothered to notice. Compliment 7. The presence impact compliment. Describe how she changes the room. There is a level of compliment that goes beyond noticing her or admiring her. It's the presence impact compliment, the recognition that her very being has an effect on the environment, the people around her, and the energy in the room. Most men compliment what is obvious: beauty, style, or charm. Few ever comment on the subtle yet undeniable influence a woman carries simply by existing in a space. When you acknowledge the way she shifts energy, makes others feel, or commands attention without effort, it signals that you notice depth. Women are wired to respond to men who see what is rarely seen, who understand that attraction is not just about appearances, but about the emotional resonance someone generates. This type of compliment is powerful because it speaks directly to her influence and importance. Telling a woman, "When you enter a room, everything feels lighter," or "You have a presence that changes the whole energy here," communicates that her existence has significance beyond surface-level appeal. It validates the way she contributes to the atmosphere without needing to perform, be flashy, or seek approval. Most people, including men, fail to recognize this, focusing only on what is loud or visible. By noticing her presence impact, you demonstrate emotional intelligence, awareness, and maturity, all qualities that women are instinctively drawn to. Women crave acknowledgement for their effect on others because it taps into a deeper part of their identity. She wants to feel that her presence matters, that the energy she carries influences the people around her, and that someone can truly perceive that effect. When a man comments on it, it shows she is not invisible to him. She is observed, appreciated, and respected for the influence she naturally wields. This is different from shallow praise. It's meaningful recognition. It creates a sense of intimacy because she realizes that you are seeing her from a perspective few people ever take the time to notice. Giving this type of compliment also positions you as someone aware and confident. Only a man who understands energy, social dynamics, and emotional nuance can authentically recognize how her presence impacts the room. It reflects that you are attuned to more than appearances, that you perceive patterns, moods, and subtle shifts in atmosphere, and that you are capable of articulating it with confidence. Women are drawn to this awareness because it makes them feel understood, valued, and elevated without pressure or neediness. When you make her aware of her own impact, it sparks curiosity, admiration, and attraction. She begins to see you as someone who can appreciate not just the obvious, but the invisible forces that shape experiences, interactions, and emotions around her. This awareness alone can make a woman start thinking about you differently, seeing you as someone rare in a world full of superficial attention. Compliments 8. The potential compliment. Acknowledge her growth and ambitions. There is a type of compliment that resonates deeper than charm, humor, or surface-level admiration. It's the potential compliment, the acknowledgement of a woman's growth, her ambitions, and the future she's shaping for herself. Most men focus on what a woman is right now, praising what they can see or experience in the moment. Very few take the time to recognize where she is headed, the effort she puts into becoming more than she was yesterday, and the vision she holds for her life. When you compliment her potential, you signal that you see beyond appearances, beyond the present, and into the essence of her drive, determination, and aspirations. This type of recognition is rare and powerful because it validates her sense of self, her goals, and her purpose in a way that superficial compliments cannot. Women are instinctively drawn to men who recognize and respect their inner journey. When you say something like, "I can see how much you've grown, and it's impressive," or "You have such a clear vision for your life, and it's inspiring," it communicates that you are aware of her evolution and capable of appreciating the work it takes to reach higher. It doesn't matter if her growth is personal, professional, emotional, or intellectual. Acknowledging it demonstrates attentiveness, insight, and the ability to connect on a level beyond the visible. Complimenting her potential shows that you value not just who she is now, but who she is becoming, and that you are present enough to notice the steps she's taking on her journey. This type of compliment builds a unique kind of trust and emotional bond. Women want to be seen for their ambitions because it shows they are being understood as complex, dynamic beings. When a man notices her effort to grow, the hurdles she's overcoming, and the vision she has for herself, she feels recognized in a way that few men achieve. She begins to see you not just as someone who admires her, but as someone who believes in her trajectory, someone who respects her independence, and someone who values the person she is continuously becoming. That recognition sparks admiration, emotional connection, and attraction because it affirms her identity on a level that transcends physicality or charm. Potential compliments also convey depth and maturity on the part of the man giving them. Only someone grounded, observant, and emotionally intelligent can acknowledge growth and ambitions authentically. By highlighting her potential, you position yourself as a man who sees the long-term value of her character, intellect, and drive. Women naturally gravitate toward men who can perceive their broader journey and honor the effort it takes to evolve. The compliment becomes a subtle yet powerful tool that deepens attraction by making her feel understood, appreciated, and aligned with someone who respects not just what she is, but what she is becoming.